Okay, I think we're live now. All right. Okay, perfect. Can you guys hear me? Is everything is everything working on you guys' end? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, perfect. Hello, hello. Hello Russian, hello Red Herring, hello Zeno, hello everybody else who's gonna be watching this or whatever. Um alright, so what I was thinking of doing today is just continuing with like the different mechanics um, that I was trying to implement last time. I think we had, yeah, this big transparent orange cube here is like the upgrade type of thing, the upgrade area or whatever. And so, hold on. If I go here, it's going to give me a random set of arms. Hey, there you go. Right, if I reset and go back. Oh, you're right, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to zoom in the code once we get to that. Okay, perfect. All right. So that was, I had created, let's go into the script. What was it? The upgrades manager, I believe. Okay, now we're gonna zoom in. Okay, there you go. So yeah, so here I had a bunch of different lists. And if you remember correctly, I had shown you guys how you can use for loops in conjunction with lists, for instance, in order to do a bunch of different things, right? So right here, it's not necessarily, yeah, exactly. It's not using a for loop, but where was the for loop? Was it in platform manager? Nope. Was it in player manager? Possibly. Hold on. Nope. I don't remember where it was. Movement pattern manager. Oh no, it was in the spawner. Exactly. Yeah, it was in the spawner. Yeah, okay. Yeah, right here in the spawner. Okay, perfect. So, what I'm thinking is today I'm gonna try to make some basic projectiles and associate them with the different arm types that we have, right? And then if we're able to do that today, what I'm thinking is tomorrow we could start maybe working around with like starting to make actual proper enemies instead of like these very basic like red cubes, right? That are just moving in a specific pattern or whatever. Like that, right? Jesus. Ah! Ah, perfect. Hold on. No! Down. Yeah. But instead we could have these right here, right? These four different enemy types. We could like maybe how can I say, create certain archetypes from them. And I might show you guys something, I forget what it's called, but it might be called inheritance. I'm not sure. But I'm gonna look it up tomorrow. And depending on what it's called. Oh, I can't jump. Interesting. Oh, okay, now I can. Oh, fuck. Uh-oh. Hold on. Okay, it's not letting me jump. Okay, so again, like clearly there are still a bunch of bugs going on, right? Okay, no, it's just not letting me jump. Interesting. Okay. So anyways, so yeah, so what I'm thinking is maybe I'm gonna keep working on the player upgrade system. Oh hey, GT Infinity. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep working on the like player upgrade system, because basically what we did last week is just set up this cube, this area, let's call it the upgrade zone or whatever, where the moment the player walks in, they receive like different upgrades or whatever. For now, it's just a specific set of limbs, right? A left arm and a right arm, and then oh, okay, interesting. Player manager. Oh, okay, yeah, because these were the arms and legs and whatnot. Okay, what is this? If is jumping equals false. Interesting. Okay. Anyways, so as I was saying, like right now, when the player walks into this zone, they're only getting like they're only being assigned a specific limb, right? Like a left arm and a right arm. But um, what I'm thinking of doing is adding a mechanic where, let's say, when the player presses left click, he's going to be shooting projectiles from the left arm, and pressing right click, he's going to be shooting projectiles from the right arm, right? So just give me a moment. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Change player movement speed. Okay, perfect. All right. So, just give me a moment. Okay. Okay. So here we have the player manager script, and where did we put the? Okay, here. No, not okay. Here. Yeah, there you go. So late update. Here are all the players' movement inputs and controls. Well, all of the players' inputs and controls. Okay, perfect. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna add something that's gonna detect when the player is left clicking and right clicking. Okay. So I'm just gonna do here. Okay. Mouse left click 0, mouse right click M1, and then mouse middle click, let's say middle mouse button, which is going to be M2. Okay, so now what this looks like is if input dot get mouse button, there you go. Okay, and if you saw quickly, there were different, so let me just show you. Input dot get mouse, there's get mouse button, there's get mouse button down, and get mouse button up, right? So get mouse, hold on, get mouse button, it returns whether the given mouse button is held down. So basically this, like this right here, is true. For instance, for mouse button 0, which I write it as M0, but it's basically get mouse button 0 is left click, right? So this is true as long as the player is pressing uh, left click, right? Now, if I did get mouse button down, okay, let's wait for it to, okay, well, it's not showing it. Okay, returns true during the frame the user pressed the given mouse button, right? So this is, so basically if instead of having get mouse button 0, I had get mouse button down 0, it would only read for the one frame where I clicked left click, right? But even if I held left click down, it wouldn't do anything, right? It would only detect it for the one frame where I clicked, right? And then get mouse button up, right, is going to be, yeah, it's the opposite of get mouse button down. It's the frame where I release the button, right? Returns true during the frame the user releases the given mouse button, right? That's how it works. Again, don't ask me how or why. Okay, get mouse button. Now here we're gonna do 1, etc., etc. And now this can be useful because, for instance, when I have get mouse button, that means that it detects it even when the player is. Listen, HT and Vinny, I don't know, bro. I don't know. But yeah, so this only properly works, okay? It only properly no, exactly. It's not that it only properly works, but basically this works when the player clicks on the button and while the player holds down the button. But when the player releases, this stops being true, right? If it was mouse button up, it would only detect on the frame the player releases the button. And if it's only mouse button down, it's on the frame the player clicks on the button, right? And so this can be useful for stuff like, well, for instance, okay, here we have get key down, right? It's the exact same principle with all these other keys, right? Because see, here I'm using W key is pressed. I'm only using get key instead of get key down, right? So what I could do eventually is set up multiple different inputs for the spacebar and have one that's just get key code space. And so it's going to detect whenever the spacebar is being held down. And the longer it's being held down, the more jump power the player is building. And then I could get input.getKey up, which is going to detect the frame on which the player releases the spacebar. And at that point, I'm going to do the jump thing, right? So for instance, here, all I can do is, let's say, get key. That's it. Let's change the spacebar to get key. And also, let's just finish the middle mouse button. There you go. All right. Okay. And let me just, what was it? Debug.log. Left click. I think that's how this should work. Right click. Middle click. Let's say for now, right? Okay. Okay, so now here we're gonna pay attention in the console, right? Because I coded it so that whenever I press one of the buttons, it's gonna like write it here, whether it's left click. Okay, see? And I'm only clicking, right? Like you can see it appears a bunch of times, right? But I'm only clicking it really quickly as I can, right? Like left click, right click, middle click, left click, right click. Why? Why does it give it multiple times? It's because it's get key. It's it's get mouse button. Now, if I were to do get mouse button down, here, middle click, we're gonna keep it this way, and this one we're gonna do up, right? Now let's see. So now what happens is left click is mouse button down, right? Left click is mouse button down, so it's only going to detect on the frame I click it. Right click is mouse button up, so it's only going to detect it on the frame where I release it. And middle mouse button is any frame, basically, where it's clicked, right? So let's see. See? It only detects it like I click it once. Now I'm gonna click it and hold it down. See, I'm holding it down and it only appeared once, right? Now I'm gonna right click and hold it down, okay? I'm currently holding down right click and nothing's happening. Now I'm gonna release it in 3, 2, 1, and there you go, right? And now I'm just gonna click really quickly middle mouse button and it appears like a bunch of times, right? So yeah, so right now I'm gonna hold right click and I'm gonna spam left click, and then in 3, 2, 1, there you go, right? There you go. Yeah. Okay. So is the input stored and kept active by Unity for a fraction of a second like it's done in fighting games, or you have to code into it? I'm not sure. So is the input stored and kept active by Unity for a fraction of a second? So what do you mean by the input being stored and kept active, right? Because this is another thing. Fighting games and platformers are like, and racing games. Those are the 3 types of games I play the least of. Like I barely ever play these types of games, so I'm a bit less familiar with the intricacies of the mechanics and stuff. You know what I mean? If we're talking like RPGs, strategy games, management games like city builders, colony sims, whatever stuff like that, that's more of my jam, right? FPS, third-person shooter as well. I guess if you want to force the input to continue for longer, you'd have to do it manually. So what do you mean by that? Like maybe like I left click once, but like it keeps doing what it's supposed to do even after I released it? Something like that? I'm just gonna be right back real quick. I'm gonna fill up my water bottle. Okay, I'm back. In fighting games, the player input is kept active for a moment because you do combinations. Okay. So let's say I press square like we're playing on the PlayStation. I press square, and immediately afterwards I press circle. Uh, you're talking about something that detects the fact that I pressed square before I pressed circle. Is that what you're talking about? Hold on. While I'm waiting for you to answer, I'm just gonna go back into the script. Okay, so now we know that this works for sure. Okay, gotcha. So typically, again, like I have no idea how they code it in like the professional AAA um, fighting games and everything, but me personally, if I had to code it a specific way, I would simply have, let's say, like a list of booleans, or I don't know, like some sort of list, right? Well, okay, yeah, there you go. So let's say some sort of list, right? And simply add a specific value to the list, right? And then have some sort of script that runs through the list and then um, has pre-made functions that get activated depending on the pattern of inputs that are recorded in the list. And then after a set amount of time or whatever, just resets the list, right? Or something like that. That's how I would do it. I know it's very abstract the way I'm describing it, but that's kind of how I would do it. I'd separate that from the keys themselves. Exactly, yeah. you could have a list, yeah, that keeps a record of keys pressed and at what time, if last key was pressed within a time frame. Yeah, exactly. That's typically how you want to do it. Basically, the logic is whatever input you make, it's like separated from everything else, right? Like you just have the input, and this way it creates a more modular type of coding process, right? Where, as you see here, right, initially, if you remember correctly, all I had was space bar when it's pressed, and all I had is jumping equals true or some shit like that, right? Eventually, I started adding the different things to have the you know, like, is it airborne? Then you can do a ground slam, etc., right? So that's why this is easier, because for instance, if I wanted to add some kind of forward dash mechanic, I could easily do it by like modifying this right here, right? Without necessarily having to specifically fuck around with the input itself. You know what I mean? And also, as you can see here, it's input.getKey for W, A, S, D, E, and Q, whatever, so that it allows me to hold down W and move constantly, right? Because otherwise, if I did like get key up, for instance, or let's say get key down, whatever, and we went here into the game. Now, if I'm holding down W, my player character is not going to be moving, right? Like, look, I have to. I'm spamming it, and if you look at the top right, like I'm literally spamming W. If you look at the top right corner, my fucking position is barely changing. We're gonna get there. You know what I mean? But hold on. But meanwhile, so remember, I changed the space bar. It was get key down. I changed it to just get key. So there you go. I can now just hold space. See what happens? How much higher my jumps are just because I've, oh well, there you go, just because I've allowed myself to hold spacebar. Yeah, there you go. So now we're gonna change it back to get key for W, and spacebar is gonna be get key up. There you go. So when the player releases. Never code to a specific input. Think of inputs as something you're asking for by the actual intended task. Yeah, exactly. Once again, AGT Infinity with the best explanations. You made the player character black. Hey, listen. Sometimes it do be that way, as they say. Okay, so now, as I was saying, what I want is to have a specific yeah. So what I want is for when I press left click for the player's left arm, because remember, we're making some kind of modular mech type of character where like the different limbs have different abilities and stuff like that, right? So the logic is when the player presses left click, the left arm is gonna do its action, and when the player presses right click, the right arm is gonna do its action, right? And now let me just go back here. Okay, there you go. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so here, if you remember last stream, I created 4 different scripts for let's say the 4 body parts that we decided to have, right? We're gonna have a left arm, a right arm, a body, and legs, right? So because right now we're only going to be working with the left arm, which is going to be controlled with left mouse button, and the right arm, which is going to be controlled with right mouse button. um, we're gonna set it up in a way that makes this what do you call it? That makes this input interact with the left arm script, and this input interact with the right arm script. Okay, so now let me just try to think of how I did it. Okay, hold on. So we have the player upgrades manager. So the logic was, here we have a list of player body objects, we have a list of player leg objects, we have a list of left arm objects and right arm objects. And I know I wrote it as arms right. Whoops, nope. I wrote it as player arms right, player arms left. The reason why I did that, it's because it's just easier to read, in the sense that we have player arms, which arms, the left arms, okay, perfect. Player arms, which arms, the right arms, perfect. Player legs, okay, perfect. Player body, etc., right? And whenever the player enters the upgrade zone, it detects if the player has no body, it gives it a body. If the player has no legs, it gives them a random set of legs. And if the player doesn't have a left arm, it gives it a random left arm. And if the player doesn't have a right arm, it gives the player a random right arm, right? So what I'm thinking is, let's go back to the game. Player upgrades. Okay, where are these? Okay, gotcha. Okay, perfect. So here, the logic is that the player already has every single different potential arm and leg and body and whatever that the player could have, but those objects are deactivated, right? Here you can see top right, they're inactive. And basically all the player upgrade script does is that it detects, oh, the player doesn't have any arms currently assigned to it, so I'm going to give it a random arm, and whichever arm ID I give it, right, like whichever arm index I give it, this script has a list of all of these different arms, like all of the right arms, left arms, etc., and it's simply gonna activate one of them, right? And so what this means is, at that point, like one of the three left arms, eventually we're gonna have more than three, but I decide to have three just because it's simpler that way, right? So eventually, let's say arm one gets activated, the left arm one gets activated, and the right arm zero also gets activated, right? So at that point, what we want is, when the player left clicks, the player needs to go into the left arm script of whichever arm is currently active and do something, right? So let me just see. Do these have, okay, no. So let me select all three of these. We're gonna lock, and then here we're gonna do arm. Player arm left, because these are the left arms. There you go. And then player arm right. I think I can just, there you go. Okay, perfect. So now let's say arm 0 is going to be a cannon, arm 1 is going to be a blade, and arm 2 is going to be a shield. And same thing for this. Cannon, blade, shield. Okay, there you go. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is the following. We're going to go into the player manager script. Okay, hold on. And we have a player body, player legs, player arm left, player arm right. Okay, current player left, current player arm left script, current player arm right script, etc., etc. These four, whoops, god damn it. No, stop it. What the fuck is this? Okay, there you go. Sometimes when you press F11 or F12, something like that, it like starts recording or whatever. It's fucking weird. I don't just be mindful, like what the weird stuff you saw appear right now, like it's not supposed to do that, right? So if you accidentally press like F11 or F12, whatever it is, just cancel, go up here and cancel, right? Okay. So these 4 scripts will be used by this script to interact with players' mech sections. There you go. Okay. So now, as we said, when the player upgrades manager. Okay, yeah, there you go. Okay. So when the player upgrades manager collides with the player, if the player doesn't have a body, it's going to give him a body. If the player doesn't have legs, it's going to give him legs, etc., etc. So what we're going to do here is this player manager script dot player mech sections list 3 equals, okay, yeah, so here assign a random right arm section to the player. Okay, so let's go, oh fuck's sake, cancel. Okay, there you go. Okay, so now I'm gonna click on my player manager script, and now here, look, in the on the right in the inspector player mech sections list, we don't have a left arm, nor do we have a right arm. And when the player walks through the orange cube, okay, boom, now we have these 2 assigned. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is go back here. I'm gonna go into the player manager and create, no, that's player, there you go, player manager, and I'm going to create a function. Okay, here we have late update, fixed update, rotate legs, vertical movement manager, etc., rotation manager, player attack manager, player platform reset. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so now we're gonna go all the way down here, and I'm gonna create a new function, player void, which is gonna, okay, so mech sections setup. Okay, there you go. So what this is gonna do is go through every single mech section and set up all relevant variables. All relevant variables, okay? So what does this mean concretely, right? It means if mech section, player mech sections list 0 equals no, hold on, isn't equal null. Okay, there you go, hold on. But player body script is null. Okay, so again, so what this means is if we go into the player mech sections list and it on the index 0, which is the player body, there is a value, so there is a game object assigned to it, right? But the current player body script doesn't have any value, then we're gonna set it up, right? So current player body script equals mech sections list 0 dot get component player body, oh Jesus, player body, there you go, like that, right? And now we're just gonna do the same thing for everything else, right? So player body setup, player legs setup, player left arm setup, and then lastly it's going to be player right arm setup. Okay, and now here we're going to change this to 3, 2, 1. Same thing here, 1, 2, 3, right? Because it's the same code just for different list elements based on their index, right? And because this list is only ever going to have 4 elements, we don't need a for loop. That composite runs the code in Visual Studio, not going to do much in this scenario. Yeah, exactly. What I just read is a comment by AGT Infinity about the weird like F11, F12 I pressed earlier. Okay, so there you go. Okay, hold on. Now this code here is gonna work for what we're trying to do, but technically speaking, I could add a little bit more to it just to make it more modular, more robust, right? So what do I mean by this, right? Right now, the way I've coded the game mechanics is that whenever the player doesn't have like a body, legs, arms, or whatever, when he enters the orange cube, he receives new ones, but this only happens once, right? Now, maybe later on, like in this project that we're doing, we're gonna have a mechanic where the player can swap out different arms, different legs, whatever. So if that were the case, here we would have to like add more conditions, right? Because I would basically have to say like when, let's say when the player doesn't, when the player has, because remember that this here, just I can't speak, what the fuck's going on, right? Remember that this here means isn't, right? If it was equal, it means is. If it's exclamation mark equal, it means isn't, right? So what this means here is player, the game object whose index is number 3 inside of the player mech sections list, its value is not null, which means that it has a value, which means that there is a game object assigned to this index, but the player here, it's body script, but I'm gonna have to change it to arm right, arm left, legs. There you go, right? So in this case, the player right arm script doesn't have a value, then assign it. But what if there is a value here, right? So again, it isn't null. And this one also isn't null, but this one is associated to the previous arm that was associated with this. You know what I mean? So in weird situations like these, I'm going to have to add different, what do you call them? I'm going to have to add different if statements, different conditions. But for now, we're going to keep it this way just because it gets the job done, right? So now we have this here. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so okay, yeah, here we have the setup. Okay, perfect. And so now what I'm gonna do is oh Jesus, hold on. There you go. There you go. Player legs, arm left, arm right. There you go. Okay. So now this is fully fixed. This works as intended. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do here is okay. So if arm left isn't null, right? In other words, only when the player left arm script has a value, right? And the only way it can have a value is if we have a left arm assigned to our player character, right? Sorry. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go here in the left arm, and I'm gonna do a void left arm action function. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna try to access it, but it's not gonna let me. Left arm dot action. Oh, nothing's happening, right? If I go here and I just write public void, I think I've shown you guys this before, but I'm gonna show it again, right? Now action. Oh, left arm action. Amazing. There you go, right? And so here we're gonna do the exact same. Arm right script arm current player arm right, but it doesn't have a left arm action, right? So now we're gonna do this here like that. There you go. And now, there you go. Now it's not giving us an error anymore, but this is the right arm. We don't want the function to be called left arm action. Left arm action is for the left arm. Right arm action is for this one right here. So we're just gonna rename it to right arm action. Now if I go into my right arm, oh look, it's renamed. Magic. Okay, the void is set as private automatically. Exactly. So if I just write void like this, right? Like, look, I'm gonna erase this. If I write void like this, it's the same as writing private void. It's the exact same, you know? But now we're gonna put in public. There you go. Perfect. Okay. And so now what I'm gonna do is I am going to create a projectile for each arm, right? And I'm gonna make it so that the right arm action and the left arm action respectively each spawn a projectile, right? Oh, and by the way, here I did get mouse button down, get mouse button up. We're gonna change it back to just get mouse button, because I want the player, if the player holds left click or right click, I want the action to happen like however many times we need it to happen, right? So let's go here and do public game object left arm projectile prefab. Okay, there we go. Just gonna copy paste this and change it to right arm projectile prefab. Okay, and now let's go into the spawner thing. Okay, there you go. Now I'm just gonna do this, like left arm game object new projectile object equals instantiate yeah, prefab left arm prefab transform dot position and transform dot rotation. So what this does is it's going to create a new game object based on whose name is new projectile object, whatever. It is a copy of this object here, right? Prefab, yeah, prefab, whatever. prefab object, and it's going to spawn it at the position at the same position as whatever object has the player arm left script, and in the same rotation as it. Okay, there you go. Oh, hey Clark Can, haven't seen you in a while. I started working on my own game finally, not Unity, but hey, let's go, dude. That's fucking cool. If you want, like, once you get advanced enough or whatever, like, I'd be more than happy to give you free coverage or whatever. If you want, you can join the game dev Discord that I've set up. Hold on, let me just that I've set up for this channel, and there, like, if you have any questions about anything or whatever, we can, like, we will gladly try and help you out as best as we can. Hold on, there you go. So I put the link in the chat. You can click the link, join the server. We have, like, obviously, like, it's mainly based around Unity, but I know that I think it was Moldy Crow, if I remember correctly, in Game Dev Resources posted a bunch of stuff, like a shit ton of different resources for how to decompile and do a bunch of other stuff like that, right? Which is really useful. I put mainly Unity resources just because that's what I'm most familiar with. I know AGT Infinity is working with Unreal, so, like, we have a bunch of different people, so, you know, it all depends on what you're doing, you know. It's a Lovecraftian visual novel / RPG similar to Coteries of New York. It's going to be Chud in the way that I don't have any diversity. Let's go, dude. Well, it should have the right kind of diversity, right? The kind of diversity that H.P. Lovecraft would have appreciated. Speaking of H.P. Lovecraft, what is H.P. Lovecraft's cat named? Oh, wow. Oh, what an interesting name. What a fascinating name. Anyways, alright, hold on. I'm just gonna be right back because it's getting really warm in here. Yeah, alright. Okay, so where were we? Okay, we were here. So recap. When the player collides with the player upgrades object, which is represented by this orange cube here, this is going to happen, right? At which point, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add one last thing. Let me just go back here. Okay, it's a public void. Mech section setup. Okay, perfect. Let's go upgrades, and we're gonna do player manager script dot mech section setup. Okay, and I'm gonna run it after each one of these. There you go. There you go. Okay. So this means if player doesn't have a body, it's the player upgrades is gonna give him one. If the player doesn't have legs, it's gonna give him a pair of legs. If the player doesn't have a left arm, it's gonna give him a left arm. If the player doesn't have a right arm, it's gonna give him a right arm. And after each of these, it's going to tell the player manager script to do the mech section setup, which, as we saw here, is the part where it checks, oh, do we have a body? Yes, we do. Is our body script currently set up? No, it's not, right? Therefore, set it up. Same thing with legs, left arm, right arm, and then up here, when the player presses left click, if the current left arm script has been set up, then we're going to go into the current left arm script and we're going to tell do the left arm action. And then same thing for the right arm script, right? Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, so, all right. So now we're gonna go, first we're gonna do the left arm and then we're just gonna copy paste the code for the right arm, you know? So left arm, what it does here is it spawns a projectile, and for now, this is it for now. I will add more code here eventually. Okay, so now what are we going to do? Okay, what we're going to do is create a brand new script, and we're gonna call it projectile manager question mark. Should it be projectile manager or just projectile script? Whatever. Yeah, projectile script. Because my general rule of thumb is if the script itself is a very broad script, such as the player manager or like the UI manager or stuff like that, right? Then I put manager behind it, right? So for instance, in my game, the sci-fi RTS that I'm currently working on, it's I have a script that's called the game manager script, kind of like here, right? The game manager script, which does the broadest stuff, right? Like it makes sure what's the game mode currently selected, what are like all the core different things. Then I have the player manager. Then I have the battle manager, which specifically takes care of the battle. So whenever the player is in a battle, as opposed to like the galactic map screen where the player does diplomacy and stuff, when the player is in the battle, I have a script that's like a specific manager that only manages the battle. Then I have a UI manager, I have a VFX manager that all it does is take care of the visual effects, etc., right? However, for the units in my game, because it's a strategy game, well, I don't have a unit manager. I just have a unit script. You know what I mean? For the projectiles, I just have a projectile script. You know, stuff like that. So let's do here, projectile, etc. Okay, projectile. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is like that, like that. It might have some under. Oh, Jesus. No strong woman, no rainbows, pure Christian New England experience. Amazing. Good shit, Clark. Okay, hold on. Also, I looked at the poll. You guys pretty much voted unanimously that you were interested in watching me build the galactic map of my game in real time. So eventually, like, I'm not sure exactly when, but probably in the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna start, or at most like sometime in June, at the latest. I'm hoping that I'm gonna be able to start doing the visuals for the galactic map, and those streams specifically are like they're not really gonna be scheduled, right? Like they're just gonna be whenever. Like some of them might be scheduled, the others might not, and it's just whenever I have time and I decide to work on that, I'm gonna just pop a stream and start working on the galactic map, you know. So okay, so here right now we're setting up the projectile script. What I'm gonna do is public vector3 this projectile move direction vector3. There you go. Okay. then I'm gonna do public float this projectile movement speed f, because it's a float, equals minus 1.0, because again, whenever it's minus 1.0, it's my personal way of telling myself, oh, you need to manually set up this value. If it's 0, then it means some sort of script is going to manually modify it. Again, I'm not saying you guys have to do this. That's just how I do it. And so that's why every single time I explain this, just to be clear. Then let's say public integer, this projectile damage is going to be equal to minus 1 again. And for now, that's all we're going to do. Okay. And now, oh, wait. And now I'm going to set up a okay, let's go back to here. No, fuck, there you go. Okay, like that, left arm, right arm, etc. And if you remember correctly, in my test script I had an enum, right? And then here I had a function that allowed me to automatically change the value of the game mode, for instance, right? Well, if you look closely in left arm and right arm, I don't have such a function because I don't need it, because in the context of like the left arm, the right arm, whatever, this variable is not meant to be dynamically changed during the course of the game, you know? So that's why we don't need it necessarily. I'm practicing with your suggestions in mind, what you do, so it's fine. For the, okay, yeah, exactly. Because as I said, like the purpose of these streams is to just show you guys how I learned all of this on my own. So again, these are very informal classes, right? This isn't like some kind of computer science class or whatever, but rather it's just to show you guys how much it's possible for a single developer to do on their own, right? And how it is possible to make a game on your own. In fact, nowadays it's easier than ever. The only problem is that if you're alone, it's gonna take you a lot of time. Because look how little progress. Well, we are making progress, but I'm working 4 to 5 hours a week on this project, right? Wait, you have no credentials? Yeah, exactly. I have no credentials. Which is true. I have no credentials, but most people who have credentials are fucking incompetent, right? Like, look at Ubisoft. Look at the shit heaps they make, right? Look at Blizzard. Look at EA. Look at all these shitty companies, right? But yeah, okay. So, anyways, back on topic, because like if we keep going, I'm gonna start ranting on AAA games. Hold on. Okay, so here we had the left arm. Exactly, yeah. So as I was saying, these enums here, they're just meant for us to modify them in the inspector and never touch them again, right? Credentialism is a racket. Absolutely, Clark can. Okay, so as I was saying, we're just gonna copy and paste this. We're gonna go into the projectile, and here we're gonna do public enum. I'm gonna call it projectile. Projectile type. Okay. Non-player projectile, enemy projectile, and let's say neutral projectile. There you go. There you go. And then here I'm gonna do public projectile type. This projectile type equals, sure, let's put it that way, like that. Now I'm gonna have another enum, so I'm gonna have two enums. which this is going to be projectile fuck. Okay, I'm gonna change it. Hold on. This, I'm gonna rename it to projectile ID, I guess. Yeah. And then this projectile ID, right? And now this is gonna be projectile type. And it's gonna be normal projectile. Oh, fuck. Normal projectile. There shouldn't be a space. Normal projectile. I don't know. Super projectile. Whatever. Bouncy projectile. I don't know, right? Whatever. So, some bullshit like that, right? And then public projectile type. This projectile type is gonna be, sure, normal projectile, let's say, right? Okay. Are you trying to say my college degree in basket weaving is invaluable? That's exactly it. Bruh. I used to work, it was like a summer job. It was full of young lefty women who had degrees in really stupid shit. And I remember, like, we would talk politics, and they were so fucking stupid, man. And they clearly weren't, how can I say, they're not unintelligent women, unintelligent young women. They're not unintelligent young women. They're not bad people, but they are so concerned with fitting in and looking good, looking like a good person, virtue signaling, that they buy into all of these retarded ideas. Like one of them was telling me, like, oh, you as a white man cannot be the victim of sexism or racism. And immediately I was like, but what you just said is sexist and racist. You know what I mean? It's insane. And she was like, no, it's not. I was like, okay. Okay, it's not. All right. Okay. So, let's do void projectile movement. Okay. And now let's just go into the player manager, player horizontal movement, move forward. We're just gonna, oh yeah, baby. Woo! Okay, hold on. Okay, we're just gonna copy paste this into the projectile. Okay. So transform dot position plus equals movement direction times move speed times time dot delta time. Okay, so let's just do this right here. For now, we're gonna keep it this way and update projectile movement function. Well, Quebecers are known bigots. So they were educated and you were resentful. It's okay to be jealous because they got a scholarship, bro. Yo, I had one of these girls, and again, like they were really sweet young women. They were really kind, really well-meaning. But I'm just gonna give you an example of how little thought they put into their belief systems, right? One of them, I think at the time she was 18, I was like 24, I think. So that was like 4 or 5 years ago. And she was like, oh, I hate the education system. And I was like, okay, but why are you in in university then? And she's like, oh, because I want to reform the education system. And I was like, okay, but like, don't you think that all of the sacrifices that you're gonna have to make in order to get to be the minister of education, don't you think the price you're gonna have to pay and the sacrifices you're gonna have to make to get to that point are gonna be so severe that you're gonna end up basically selling your soul, and you're gonna be so deeply embedded in the system that by the time you get to that position of power, you're not gonna want to change the system? And she was like, no. I was like, okay. Jesus. No, I didn't fix them. Red herring. I'm not a fixer. I'm a hater. Oh, hey, Moldy Crow. All right, so give me a moment. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right. So, okay. So now, just to recap everything that I've done so far, especially since Moldy Crow just arrived, we have our player upgrade system, which detects which limbs the player is missing, and for each missing limb, the player is going to not the player, for each mech section that the player is missing, the player upgrade script is gonna assign to them a specific limb, like a random limb, and then it's gonna tell the player manager script to do the mech sections setup script. Then here in the player mech section setup script, not script but function, it's gonna set up each of these scripts here, right? Then hold on, let me just do this like that. Then okay, then here when the player presses left click, he's only if he has access to a left arm, he's gonna go into the left arm script and do the left arm action, right? And same thing with right click and the right arm, right? And now, what does the left arm action function do? It spawns a projectile, right? So now here we have pretty much the same variables. There you go. There you go. All right. So let's wait for it to compile. Okay, there you go. Okay. The system eats you up before you have a chance. Exactly. It's over for these women, bro. You have no idea. You have no idea. Like, one of them was this 18-year-old girl who was like, I identify as being queer. And I was like, okay, have you had sex with women? No, but that doesn't... I'm like, okay, you're straight. Like, stop bullshitting. Like, stop trying to oh yeah, HT Infinity. Hey, listen, I love Lotus Heaters. What can I say? I'm a homeschool teacher by trade. Had this exact conversation a few times. Was asked why I won't implement my ideas in government or school. Told them government is where ideas go to die. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so now let's set up a projectile prefab. Okay, just give me a moment. I'm gonna go here. It's gonna be a sphere. Oh boy, that was quite large. Let's make it smaller. Yeah, like that. And let's, okay, there you go. And let's maybe give it a specific color. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. I hope you guys enjoy my singing, Okay, I'm gonna make it purple just because we don't have the color purple yet. Oh fuck, hold on. Uh, oops. Purple material. Let's call it that. Let's change it to, yeah, something purple like that. Okay. There you go. Ooh, maybe it might be a bit too dark. Maybe a bit more pastel. Okay, there you go. Yeah, that's proper. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Okay, so that's purple. Sphere, this is gonna be projectile. Sure, let's call it projectile. The fuck is this? No idea what this is. Sometimes Unity is gonna give you some weird like errors like these. No idea what it means. And usually they're like a one-time thing that doesn't really appear anymore. Okay, so now let's do rigid body. Rigid body. This is going to be trigger collider. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Yeah, and now here we're gonna go into the script. You can select this. Where's the projectile script? There you go. So now we have the projectile script. Movement speed, let's put 1. Projectile damage 1. Movement direction forward. This projectile is going to be a player projectile and it's going to be a normal projectile. Okay. Perfect. And now remember we go into the prefabs. No, not test prefabs. Folder player prefabs. There you go. So we're gonna rename this to player projectile. Boom. There you go. I'm gonna save. Now I can delete this, and now I can go into all 3 of these. Oh wait, no, all 3 of these. And here you see left arm projectile. I can just drag and drop this. And now same thing with the right arm projectile. I can just drag and drop. Calling yourself anything but straight without bagging a target sounds like stolen valor to me. Exactly. Bro, there are so many people like that, it's crazy. And it's interesting, right? Like the more upper middle class they are, the higher the percentage of like weirdos and degenerates and fake like non-binary fake exotics. That's what we're gonna call them. They're acting like they're more exotic than they really are, you know. All right. Okay, so now we have this. I think it should be good. Hold on, sphere collider. Oh wait, hold on. Hips. Okay. So these ones here, we're gonna remove this. We're gonna remove this. Okay, perfect. That's fine. All right. Okay. So now let's see if this is gonna work. Okay, hold on. God damn it. Okay. So see, now I'm right clicking, left clicking, right clicking, left clicking, right? I am jumping normally. Okay, so now let's go in the upgrades. Boom. Oh. Oh, wait. Wait, do they have, does my player projectile, does the rigid body, okay, yeah, it uses gravity. Okay, that's why they're falling. Okay, there you go. That makes sense. Okay, it's leaking. It's leaking purple drink. Oh shit. All right, hold on. Yeah, cause I had gravity enabled in the rigid bodies. See? Pew, 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 pew. Now I'm holding both of them. Whee! Oh jeez. And you see they are moving forward, right? They're just super slow, you know? Amazing. All right, so now let's just augment the speed tenfold, right? And now let's see. The pattern and speed reminds me of a bullet hell, yeah? Okay, hold on. Let's go here. Pew, 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 pew. Ah! No! Getting my salad tossed. Pew, pew, pew. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it's always going forward based on the world forward. Okay, there you go. Okay, interesting. Okay. So now, as you can see, it doesn't look great, right? And I did that on purpose to show you guys. Oh, hold on. Yeah. That's why I asked to shoot to the side. Yeah. Okay. So, hold on. It's really warm here in Montreal, and it's been raining all day, so it's really humid. And because Montreal is an island to begin with, it's like super humid, and so it's really warm. Like sometimes it gets really fucking warm during like the summer and stuff. And the problem is that, well, the problem, it's not really a problem, but my air conditioner is my AC is super fucking strong, so I have to constantly like turn it on for like 15 minutes, then it gets really fucking cold, then I have to stop it for another like half hour and stuff like that. So I'm gonna be right back. I'm not naked. Sorry to disappoint you, red herring. Okay, so as we saw, whenever I, because the input is get mouse button, even if I press it as quickly as I can, it's gonna detect it for several what do you call it? It's gonna detect it for several frames, right? And so that's why the projectiles look like they're like a line. They look like these weird like caterpillars or like almost like sprays of paint. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, baby.
Oh Jesus. I ate just before the stream, that's why I'm burping like crazy. Okay, so first we need to fix two things. Number one is the number of projectiles we shoot whenever we click left mouse or right mouse button. Number two, it's make sure that the projectiles move in the proper direction, right? And number three, this is something I noticed. You guys probably didn't notice it, but right now when I left click, the right arm is shooting, and when I right click, the left arm is shooting. So I need to swap these, right? So let me just see. Yeah, there you go. So these here are gonna be 75. There you go. Like that. So let's just fix this first issue just because it's the simplest. Left click, left click, left click, right click, right click, left click, right click, left click, right click, etc. So right now it looks like I'm shooting capsules, but I'm actually shooting spheres, you know? Okay. So next thing is, let's make a timer, right? So literally, let's just go copy paste our timer code. There you go. Okay, so okay, let's just copy paste this. Let's just go back to where we were right here. So now let's go into the left arm. Okay, so void, oops, public void arm action cool down. Okay, now let's do this. Okay, so let's do public boolean can do action bool equals false, oops, equals false, can do action. So if can do action equals false, and now here we're gonna have public float arm action cooldown equals minus 1.0. So this means we're gonna have to set up public float arm action timer time elapsed or something equals 000. Okay, here it's f because it's a float. Okay, so if time elapsed is lower than cooldown f, we're gonna do time elapsed plus equals time dot delta time. There you go. Otherwise, else if time elapsed is greater or equal to cooldown f, then we're gonna do can do action equals true. There you go. Okay, now here we're gonna do if can do action equals true, then and only then will you spawn this, right? And not only are you gonna spawn it, you're immediately gonna do action time elapsed minus equals cooldown just to reset it, and then can do action boolean is false. There you go. There you go. And now we're gonna just copy paste for this arm here. Copy paste like that. Like that. Then here we're gonna copy paste this right here like that, and then here we're just gonna copy paste this here. We're gonna remove this. There you go. Okay, like that. Okay, so now let's see. Okay, let's select all of these. Arm cooldown, we're gonna put at 0.1 second. Oops, Jesus, 0.1 second. Okay. Okay. See? Boo, boo, boo. Pew, 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 pew. There you go. Okay. And now the last thing is to make sure that the projectiles are facing the right way, right? So here, when we spawn this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add variables for interacting with other scripts. We're gonna do private projectile current projectile script. There you go. Now what we're gonna do here is current projectile script equals new projectile object. Yeah, dot get component projectile. There you go. And then what I'm gonna do is current because hold on, let me just erase this and just review my projectile code. It's this projectile movement. Oh, okay. Actually, hold on. I think I know how to do it. I probably won't even need this. Actually, hold on. Projectile here in projectile started. Move direction equals transform dot forward. There you go. Move direction. Exactly. Okay. There you go. And here the move. I'm sure we're gonna do it like that. Okay. So now let's see. Hopefully it should work. Okay, there you go. See? Pew, 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 pew. Pew, pew, pew. Easy. There you go. I hate coding, man. Why you make me see this on my day? Hey. What can I say? But yeah. I'm glad to see you, Game Sense. For once you woke up early. Alright, so yeah, so now we have our projectiles working. Now eventually what I would do is, as you can see here in like our left arm, left leg, whatever, we have like a cannon, a blade, a shield, etc. For now, all of my arms are behaving like cannons, right? But eventually, like much later on, I'm gonna add, like once I show you guys like animations, how to do animations and stuff, then I'm gonna actually add stuff for the blade, the shield, etc, etc. But melee collisions are fair, like they're more difficult to do properly than ranged collisions. And yeah, and so that's why I'm gonna only do ranged projectiles for now. Also, let me just create another projectile type, right? So now this, hold on. So I'm gonna create one here. A normal projectile, bouncy projectile. Okay. And now this, it's override. No. Now this here. Okay, so wait. player projectile, we're gonna rename it to player normal projectile. Okay. And then this here, whoops, this here we're gonna rename to player bouncy projectile, an original prefab. Okay, so we have bouncy projectile. Okay, and hold on, let's just assign it a material, or I don't know, yeah, fuck it, let's make it blue. Prefabs, player prefabs, apply all. Okay, there you go. And now what I'm gonna do is, if it's arm 1, it's gonna be bouncing projectile. Bouncing projectile. And now what's the difference between a like a bouncing projectile and a normal projectile? Well, you're about to find out. Collider, sphere collider. We're gonna add it here, and this one is not gonna be a trigger, and once again gravity is disabled, right? So we're gonna freeze the rotations though, because I don't want this to necessarily be rotating. Or actually, hold on, for now we're not gonna freeze them. There you go, save, like that. And we're gonna apply all, and then I'm gonna remove this. There you go. So now if my arm is red, it should shoot a bouncing projectile. If it's yellow or green, it shouldn't, right? So let's hope the RNG is with us. We have 33% chance that it is. Nope. All right, let's reset. Oh, Jesus. Okay, perfect. All right. So, see? They're like bouncing. But it's really shitty. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's not like, basically I would have to code it in a way that like when it detects a collision, it changes the direction or whatever, right? Yeah, because this basically, oh, yeah. So anyways, so now you saw how I'm doing like different projectile types and whatever. The bouncing projectiles are an abject failure. Eventually I'm gonna actually make them like ricochet or bounce or whatever, but that's the idea, right? Like you can easily create a bunch of different prefabs and just start messing around with the code, add a few features, stuff like that, right? I found out there are no off days as a game dev. I've barely started. I'm already crunching on the weekend. Yep. And I've been working on my game for, in September, it's gonna be 6 years. So, yeah, I wanna fucking finish this shit ASAP. Random, I actually like the slow yet fast moving bouncy projectiles that might make for cool. Yeah, it could. Or you could even have like a boomerang type of projectile that like you just create a timer, let's say 5 seconds, and so the projectile is moving really quickly forward, right? And then after 5 seconds, it actually, you know what? I'm gonna code it just to show you guys how easy it is, right?
Oh yeah, baby.
Oh Jesus! All right, so projectile type, bouncy projectile. Rather, let's rename it to bouncing projectile. Boomerang projectile. Okay. My parents get so fucking embarrassed when I burp like that in public and shit. I couldn't care less. I love making people uncomfortable. And again, speaking of these girls that I was working with like 5 or so years ago, a lot of them treated stuff like this like a genuine, like they treated it like rape, right? Like one of them, the one girl who told me I couldn't be a victim of sexism or racism because I was a white man. There was like some downtime at work, and she fucking drew, I think, like a heart on my arm, and I was like, oh, thanks. Let me draw you. Like my turn, right? So I take the pencil and I just draw swastika on her arm, and she gets fucking pissed, and like goes to wash it off in the bathroom, and then like maybe an hour later, one of these other like weird chicks, the one I drew the swastika on, like she was pretty chill. She got a bit mad, but like she got over it. But one of them specifically was this weird chick that was working. She was studying to be a kindergarten teacher, and she was this type of like SJW hippie unwashed witch that was like telling me about how she was like looking forward to fucking to go to a rave on the weekend and like pop acid for the first time or something like that. And I was thinking to myself, if I was a dad and I knew that the lady taking care of my kids in kindergarten was popping acid on the weekend and looked unwashed, I was like, yeah, no, fuck that. Like you're not getting anywhere near my kid, right? But basically what happens is I draw the swastika on this other girl's arm, and then this weird witch, right, this unwashed wench, like comes up to me like an hour later and she's like, why did you do this? Right? And I was like, do what? And she was like, oh, you know what I'm talking about. I'm like, I don't actually know what you're talking about. And she's like, why did you draw swastika on her arm? And I just started laughing my ass off. And she was like, you think it's funny? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, you think making women uncomfortable is funny? I'm like, yeah. Bro. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Oh my god. I'm so glad I'm not working there anymore. Like maybe 80 to 90% of the people who were working there were like really chill, but like the two or three really crazy hardcore like lefty people there were just too much. Like fuck that. Yeah, I know game sense, I know. You can just let me know your thought is no, HGT Infinity, I'm not saying this because of that. Alright, hold on. So okay, so where was I? Okay, yeah, I was making the boomerang projectile. Okay. Okay, so uh yeah, okay, so we had a timer, right? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is void boomerang uh, behavior. So here it's gonna be if projectile type, this projectile type equals projectile type boomerang projectile. Okay, this, by the way, this is how you use enums, right? Like you have the actual variable here, but then the like the if statement is this projectile's value equal to this, right? So you have to grab the projectile type enum dot which specific value, right? It's weird, but that's how it works, right? Okay, so if so basically if this projectile type is boomerang projectile, then we're gonna do boomerang behavior, right? And now what does boomerang behavior look like? Okay, hold on. So this here is gonna be header.
Oh yeah, baby.
Header movement variables. Header. Damage variables. Then here we're gonna do header. Boomerang variables. Okay, and I'm gonna do public float boomerang timer. F equals -1.f public float boomerang boomerang. Jesus, I'm stupid. Boomerang flight time f 00. Let's just rename this to boomerang. Okay, there we go. In elementary school, there were a few things more hilarious than drawing swastikas. Showed the N-word on earlier, he's already done for. I didn't show the N-word. All I showed was the name of Lovecraft's cat. Okay? Relax. Jeez, what did you eat, random? That's like the 69th mega burp this stream. Bro, these are small burps. Don't take Randy to a fancy restaurant. Only take me if you're gonna be paying, because I'm not paying shit. I'm not even playing, you should. There you go. All right. Okay. So the idea is, okay. If flight time is lower than timer, then boomerang timer, then flight time plus equals time dot delta time. Okay. However, else if Jesus. Okay, hold on. Public bool. Fuck, I can't spell. Jesus. Public bool. Change move direction boolean equals false. Okay, so if change move direction equals false, then you're gonna do this, right? However, else if flight time is greater or equal than timer f, then what you're gonna do is transform dot look at hold on. Vars. Okay, hold on. So header. Oh no, don't need a header because these are private variables. So vars for interacting with other scripts. Okay, and it's gonna be actually, God, there are so many different ways of doing what I want to do, and I'm not sure which one is the best, right? I don't think that it was just a pet's name, bro. We'll save you in your future human rights tribunal case. Bro. I know so many people who unironically speak like this. They're like, there's like still time to delete this, you know? It's like, yeah, well, I'm not deleting anything. Okay, hold on. Projectile. Where was it? Okay, left arm, right arm. Okay, so hold on, right? So in the end, I am gonna use this projectile. Okay, hold on. Projectile. Header. Core variables. Public game object. Public game object. This projectiles arm object. This is the arm that spawned this projectile. Okay. So what I'm gonna do here is go into the right arm. Hold on. Like that. Current projectile script. Right arm. We're gonna go here. Current projectile script, and then projectile script dot object. This project equals this dot game object. There you go. So now we're just gonna copy paste this like that. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go. All right. And now we're gonna go into the projectile, and what we're gonna say is, while the projectile is flying, it's going to calculate the flight time, and the moment the flight time is equal or greater than the boomerang timer, it's going to switch the direction in which the projectile is looking, right? So it's gonna be transform dot look at object arm, this projectile arm object dot transform dot position. There you go. And then immediately after that, it's gonna do change direction. Change direction equals true. There you go. All right. Lovecraft's file will be gone by when Randy goes on trial. Then it'll be over for him. Damn. Okay. All right. Hold on. All right. So now. Oh fuck! I don't have a boomerang projectile prefab. Hold on. Let's spawn one here, and let's create a boomerang material. So we have the purple material. We're gonna have orange material. Nice and orange. Nice and orange. This is going to be renamed to boomerang projectile. Go prefabs here. Bada bing, bada boom. Original prefab. So now we have. Why isn't this? Okay, there you go. Wait, hold on. No. Okay, so. What? Why is it showing it like it's gray? Nani? Okay. Okay. Boomerang timer, let's say 5 seconds. Okay. Oh, okay, there we go. Now it's showing that it's orange. Okay. And now we're gonna do this arm here. Not a normal projectile. Okay, so if the arm is yellow, it's gonna shoot a normal projectile, which is purple. If the arm is red, it's gonna shoot a blue projectile, which is supposed to bounce but not really. And if it's if the arm is green, it's gonna shoot an orange projectile. All right. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so these are bouncing projectiles. We don't need those. What we need is okay, perfect. So I have normal projectiles here, and I have this. Oh. Is it coming back? No? Okay, goodbye, sweet pea. Oh. Or is it? No. Damn. Damn. Alright, hold on. Hold on. Oh, wait, I'm stupid. because here projectile type is set to normal, so of course it's not gonna happen. It has to be set to boomerang. I'm so stupid. Hold on. Then this one here, bouncing projectile. Okay, this one's good. All right. I was waiting for it to come back. I was like, I think 5 seconds have gone by. Why isn't it coming back? Okay, hold on. God damn it. Okay, perfect. Is it gonna come back? No? No? Okay, hold on. Okay, let's look at this. Change direction. Oh, fuck. Hold on. Okay, well. Okay, so has it changed direction? Oh! Oh, okay, no, I know why. I know why I'm stupid. I know why. It's because I make it look at, right? And then what I need to do is move direction equals transform dot forward. There you go. Now it should work. Ah, I'm stupid. Okay, I'm going to head out because I need to work on my video, so have a good day. Yeah, take care, Game Sense. Hope your video is great. As in, like, hope it does great. Not like, hope your video is a good video, you know? Alright. I would create a velocity curve based derived from projectile velocity and lifetime, then have the projectile's velocity follow a parabolic equation over its lifespan. Okay, nerd. That way you get a smooth change. Well, yeah, there are a bunch of different ways to do smooth velocity. For now, I'm just testing functionality, so that's why everything looks the way it does, right? Okay, so we have bouncing projectiles, and now let's see. Come on. Hey, let's go. Whew. Pew, 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 pew. Easy. Nice. Like that, right? And now. Hey, let's go. Ah! Down. Alright. Alright, perfect. Okay. So I think this is a good start. We have projectiles now. Obviously, I haven't done anything with regards to what happens when a projectile collides with an enemy. Eventually, I'm gonna do that probably next week, because tomorrow, what I would want to do is start working on more interesting enemies, right? So remember how? Oh fuck! Hold on. There you go. Oops. So remember how I have these 4 placeholders, right? Red, blue, yellow, green enemies. Eventually, I'd like to actually give each of them like a specific behavior and AI and everything. How do you code how each projectile is destroyed? Well, okay, so the idea would be, okay, we're gonna end on this, right? We're gonna end on this. Core variables public float projectile, so this projectile lifetime f equals blah blah blah, and then public float this projectile current lifetime f equals like that. And it's very simple. We're gonna have a void projectile lifetime, and it's if, okay, hold on, projectile movement, projectile lifetime. So if projectile lifetime, current lifetime is lower than projectile lifetime, whoops, then what we do is current lifetime plus equals time dot delta time, and then else if current lifetime greater or equal to projectile lifetime, then it's just destroy this dot game object. And so this destroy function just destroys whatever game object you put here. In this case, I put this game object. And so let's test it out. Serialized object not creatable exception. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck this is. It keeps giving me weird random errors, but as you can see, the errors never do anything. So let's say projectile lifetime is gonna be 10 seconds for the boomerang. It takes it 5 seconds to run towards the player, which means that by the time it reaches the player, it's gonna disappear. So let's say like 11 seconds. Or no, yeah, 10 seconds. Let's see. The bounce is going to be 10 seconds as well. And the normal projectile, it's going to be 10 seconds as well. So again, like because of the nature of the way we've coded the projectiles, you can create a variety of different projectiles really quickly by just messing around with a few variables. You know, like how long is it going to last? How quickly is it going to move? Is it going to bounce? Is it not going to bounce? Etc., etc., right? Okay. So let's see. Hopefully we're gonna get a projectile, a boomerang projectile, which was the, okay, perfect. Okay, so look at this, okay? Like that, we're shooting everything. Okay, and now we're gonna wait for them to return, and now they should disappear. See? Woo! They're all disappearing. Boom, easy. Right, like that. We're shooting all like that. Then we're just gonna move back a little bit. Boom. See? Simple. There you go. Okay, yeah, so as I was saying, on that note, I'm gonna probably end the stream very soon. I'm gonna add the Discord link once again, just for those interested in joining the link. Clark Kent. I cannot promise that the enemies will be toucans, but you never know, right? So yeah, so just feel free to join the Discord server. And yeah, and so the plan for tomorrow is to start making some basic enemy AI. Like when I say basic, it's more elaborate than just the original one that's like patrolling around and stuff like that, right? And yeah, so I don't know, like maybe the red one is gonna be dashing around, maybe the blue one is gonna be jumping around, etc., right? Like we'll see what the options are, right? But that's the idea. So yeah, I think that's the end of today's stream. All right, that's cool. I'm a stream later today anyway. You're also always welcome to appear on my stream random. On that note, see you later. Yeah, take care, Zeno. I'd love to join your stream. It's just that I honestly have so much shit to do right now, and right now I'm really like at the kind of like at the last like big phase of implementing everything in my game to make sure that like all of the units are spawned correctly, that the AI is working and everything. So that's probably gonna, like, I'm gonna be super busy for the next 1 or 2 weeks trying to get that working. Once I've got that done, I'm gonna actually be able to stream more. I'm gonna start making streams about my game, because then I'm gonna start working on the visuals. You know, so yeah, that's the plan. So tomorrow we're gonna do enemy AI, and yeah, that's the plan. Just say the enemy is a bank. Jesus, that way the lefties will be confused. Yeah. Yeah, it's the West Bank, if you know what I mean. Okay, thanks for the stream, Randy. Always very helpful. I'm glad it was helpful to you. Again, like, if anybody has any feedback or anything, you can leave a comment in the VOD if you have questions, if you have requests, and if anybody who watches the VOD is interested in participating more, um, like on this project, like giving ideas and stuff, feel free to either join the streams when they're live or write comments down in the VOD and everything, right? Anyways, I'm gonna go because bro, I have so much work. Jesus Christ. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Stay awesome. And kiss, kiss, hug, hug. All right. Take care.